I love science and technology. From an early age, I was drawn towards understanding how the world works. How nature, physics and systems all intertwine. There's a quiet magic in recognizing that what often seems like chaos can be described by elegant equations and complex models. This fascination has led me to study engineering. Not only did I want to understand systems, I wanted to shape them, to improve, to optimize, and to design better ways forward. I specialized in modeling, control, and optimization of dynamic systems. These are technical terms, but at their core, they're about creating order and efficiency in a world full of variables. During my studies, I used a lot of first principle models. So models based on physics, the laws of physics, and thermodynamics. But I also created black box models. These are based on statistical methods, which mainly use data instead of deep physical understanding. And these black box models are the ancestors of the AI technology that transform entire industries today. And like with AI, when I was black box modeling, I encountered some difficulties, some challenges. And two of these challenges have stuck with me throughout my entire career. One is you need the right kind of data and enough data. You need data that truly represents the variance within the system. And two, the risk of extrapolation and overfitting. Models that perform well on historic data may completely fail when the behavior of a system changes. As a student, the climate crisis, the energy transition were not as urgent on the agenda as they are today. This has changed dramatically, so I would like to time travel with you back to the present. Today, the energy transition is one of the biggest challenges that humanity is facing. It requires a complete transformation in the way that we produce, store, and consume energy. This is, in essence, a shift from fossil fuels like oil, coal, and gas towards renewable energy, wind and solar. But it's not a simple swap of one type of energy towards another. No, we really need to transform the way our society is powered. We already see a rapid increase in demand of electrical energy because of the electrification of mobility, heating, and industry. And at the same time, our renewable sources are inherently intermittent, which means that the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow. Yet, in our electrical grid, supply and demand of this energy always needs to be balanced at every moment and of every location. And this creates a monumental puzzle. Energy needs to be buffered. It needs to be shifted in time and in a location using techniques like batteries, pumped hydro, and demand-side response. To me, as an engineer and a technology enthusiast, this is incredibly exciting. It's complex, it's dynamic, and it's personal. At Han University of Applied Sciences, I and my team together work on optimizing and using AI in small-scale energy systems, ranging from households towards entire neighborhoods and industry parks. We aim to answer questions like, what is the optimal size and location of a certain asset, like for instance a battery, in a specific energy systems? But we also aim to answer questions like, how do we balance the power flows for this specific energy system? And in doing this, we encounter the same two problems that I encountered many years ago as a student. We need data, the right kind of data. And unfortunately, important grid variables are not always measured, not always stored, and also not always publicly accessible. And second, the risk of extrapolation and overfitting. Like I said in the beginning, models that work well on historic data may completely fail if behavior changes. Well, we know that the behavior of the system will change. As an example, we know that weather data will change because of the climate crisis. These uncertainties scale with size. You get more variables, and the optimization problem becomes more and more complex. This highlights the need for transparent and adaptive AI systems. But let me pause here. I would like to show you a quote, and I would like to ask you to take the time to really read it and let it sink in. 5 years back, we entered the decisive decade where our choices will determine the future for all generations on planet Earth. I hope I'm not alone here today in saying that this feels like a blow to the stomach. I feel scared. What we try to create is very complex. It's enormous. It takes time to build new infrastructure, to create new policies, and to shift mindsets. But can we really afford to wait? Let me take you back to a more hopeful moment. This is my son Rob when he was around 8 years old. And it was around the time that I told him about the energy transition and climate change. I tried to convey the urgency of the problem to him in a way that he could understand. A couple of days after that talk, we went to the hairdressers. Well, now, our local hairdresser has a big treasure chest full of plastic toys that the children can take their pick from when they have had their haircut as kind of a reward that they behaved well during the haircut. When it was his time to pick a toy, he turned around, looked at me, and he asked, "Mom, it costs energy and material to make these toys, right?" And when I confirmed, he said, "Well, then I don't want one." Well, that simple moment stuck with me. We must not only understand, but we must act upon that understanding. And my son showed me that intuitively, we all know some of the steps that we can all take. And these steps, these choices, they really matter. So where do we go from here? Yes, technology is fascinating. It's very fascinating, and it's, to a point, a solution. AI and smart grids will carry much of the load in the future. But we must also change the way in which we live. What we value, and how we define progress. We are not powerless. We are participants in this story. So let me leave you with one final thought. Technology can save us up to a point. But we must also save ourselves. We must change the way we make choices. But most of all, we must all listen. Listen to data, and most importantly, to the quiet wisdom of our children. Thank you.